Thank you so much, everyone who has sent me a message about my vlog last week or watched it. It was so fun to put together, and I'm really enjoying this vlog format. Like, I'd literally never done it before. It's definitely a very different way of like editing and being creative, but I really loved it. So I'm back with another vlog. Today I'm not going anywhere, I'm just at home, but I thought it'd be really fun to have a little look, I guess, like behind the scenes and show you some of my old work. If we haven't met before, my name is Liz Mosley and I'm a graphic designer. I now specialise in branding for small businesses, but I've been doing this for, I think it's about 16 years now, and I've worked like in an agency, in-house, and I've got a massive box of old work in the loft, and I was going through it the other day and I pulled out some bits that I thought would be fun to share on social media, and I thought, you know what, actually this might be quite a fun thing to vlog and talk about, and I'm just going to share some other bits about my day as I go as well. I'm currently making myself an iced mocha. I am slightly addicted to them, but I taught myself how to make them at home. So yeah, that's what I'm up to, and then I'm going to take you upstairs to my little box office and we'll chat through some of the work that I've done. Glass from, I think it's from Dunelm, especially for my iced mochas. I love it. It's like so simple, but it brings me a lot of joy. Going to do it, but just like floating it past you. But what do you think about next year me doing, so like for the whole of 2026, alternating interview and solo episodes? The thing I think that is bad about that is I've always got too many people that I want to interview, but I think the thing that's good about it is that people do seem like they've really enjoyed like hearing my thoughts and perspectives on things, and I guess it's like good for like promoting me and my skills. And then I was thinking that in August I would just take August off completely instead of doing like a summer series. I'm not like totally sold on it, but tell me your thoughts. Okay, so I'm sitting here in my little office, which is basically the box room in my house. It's like a whole load of mess down here. I find it really hard to keep it tidy because it is quite a small room, and also I've got too much stuff, so there's that. I need to work on that because it definitely does make a difference when you're like working in a tidy space. But before I get into like showing you some of my old work, one of the things I wanted to show you was this book. And I have seen lots of designers online sharing when they've been featured in a book, which is obviously amazing and a really good sort of opportunity. And I always forget that in my first year working as a designer, my work was featured in a book and I never talk about it. So I thought I'd find the book and share it. Like, this is a really long time ago now. I have been working as a designer for 16 years. So this would probably have been in like 2009, I think, that this, oh, in fact, I could probably just check on the book when it was published. That would be smart. Let me see if it says, okay, not 2009, 2011, so a little bit later, 13 years ago. I was just looking at the book again, and what's really cool is that like people who are my design heroes were involved. So Debbie Millman wrote the foreword, and I'm in this book, which is totally crazy. So basically what happened was, in my first job I was working in this small design studio in London, and they did this like charity project, which was to design a series of placemats, and I'll find the placemats, I've got them somewhere in here, the placemats. So yeah, it was to design these placemats for this like charity auction. We decided that we would basically create these typographic pieces using various condiments, or not just condiments, like food items. So like one of them was with salt, one of them was with ketchup, and because I was like the most junior person in the studio, I was kind of tasked with actually creating them. So I spent days like piping tomato ketchup into these like letter forms. It was a super fun project. I absolutely loved it. I think it turned out really well, and so I had a lot of initiative back then. Like, it actually surprises me, but I basically found this book. So I had Fingerprint 1, the edition of this design book, and I must have found, I mean, I can't even remember, but I must have found out that Fingerprint 2 were expecting submissions. It was put together by a agency called Chen Design Associates. I think they were based in Canada. Anyway, so I must have applied to have our work featured in this book. And yeah, it felt like really special because I was the one sort of who kind of like spent the most time and did most of the project. I mean, obviously I worked on it with like my bosses and stuff. Let me see if I can find it. So here it is. Here's the spread. So you can see all the different placemats here done with the different types of food. There's like mustard here. But yeah, and then it has all the information here. So it actually has my maiden name in there. But I'm down as the designer. My boss was the art director. And obviously I had the like design firm that I was working for. Yeah, and it was this charity auction. And the theme was there's no place like home. So it was like taking these sort of comforting like food items that you like eat every day, with these sort of like questions and statements. I'm not very good at like bragging about those sort of things. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be better at sort of sharing my wins. Obviously this is a very old win, but I thought it would be fun to look back on it since it was like one of the earliest projects that I ever worked on. Okay, let's talk about some old work. So I actually talked about this in my talk at Adobe Max, and I shared my first ever paid freelance project, which was for this Christian charity, and they wanted me to create their yearbook. So they had like a certain, I mean, they had some brand guidelines, but they were like very vague. They had like a font that I needed to use, but I created it, and this is it. So it was like A5 landscape, all of this stuff. I've always been really into like very tactile, hand-drawn, kind of like rough sort of style of design, which I think is really coming back in because of AI, and I'm thrilled about it because I still love that style, and I still try and bring lots of like hand-drawn, imperfect looking aspects into my designs. Like, I've never really been into the sort of like super slick corporate vibe. Like, I've definitely been into the more like lo-fi, collage-y kind of vibe. And like back in the day, you know, like I painted this, I stuck all this down and scanned it in. I like painted this with actual ink. This was my Dymo like machine, like labeler. There's loads of like hand-drawn kind of frames inside, like different textures, Polaroid photos. I even commissioned like a friend of mine to draw some illustrations. Someone that I was like at uni with. Let me see. I mean, there's so much wrong with it. There's also like so many aspects of it that I'm actually like, oh, do you know what? I'm like chuffed with that. It all had to be in black and white, so that was like a limitation. And I had done like little drawings of the different countries that they wanted to feature. So like, here's an example. This was an illustration that she did. And it was from the photo of a car that I took a photo of when I'd gone to Cuba. So yeah, it was really cool. I said this in my talk, like that was the project that I learned how to use InDesign on. So I'm very grateful that they trusted me and that they paid me to do that. So that was amazing. I've also got some other bits I did for them, like with a similar style. So like this was like a poster that folded out. there's so much that I would improve, right? But like there was like this poster on the inside that it like folded out into. It was like a cool format. So that was like one of my first projects, and I did a few bits for them. One of the other things that I found, which was really cool to see, and I was interested to see if I would like it still, I found my wedding invitations. I remember at the time feeling so stressed about designing my wedding invitations because I felt this real pressure as a designer. Like, this is like such an amazing opportunity to just get to do whatever I wanted to do. And I actually ended up finding it quite stressful. But I found the design the other day and I don't hate it. I'm not sure why I put Elizabeth on the front, but anyway, here's like the front, and it was basically this like drop down concertina kind of fold. Again, it had like lots of hand drawn elements in it. I was obsessed with things, you know, like having a use beyond what they were. So like, yes, this was like the invite to give everyone the information, but also then there was like this poster on the back that people could like stick up, and it said, "Sometimes love isn't firecrackers, sometimes love just comes softly." Anyway, I still really like this. It like broke design rules because it had lots of different fonts. I like hand drew it all, scanned it in. Like it had different textures and stuff in the background. It was like printed on this really nice uncoated stock, and then like it had these like cute little like hand drawn flags, and this font that was very it's still a font that I really like actually. It's called Bodoni Hand, so it's like a version of Bodoni that looks hand drawn. But yeah, I don't hate it, which is cool. And then there was like other aspects to it. So this was like the order of service, and it all like matched obviously. And it had like these green bits on the inside. There's some sketchy kerning with this font, which if I had my time again, I'd go back and fix. But yeah, I'm like still pretty chuffed with how this turned out. It was all like very consistent. Definitely a bit too much centre aligning, which I would not approve of now. But yeah, so that's some of my wedding stuff. Let me see what's next. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go have some lunch and then I'll show you some more projects. One of the things that I've really struggled with in the past, and maybe like recording a vlog like this is helping me with it a bit, but is sharing my work online. I've actually done a few podcast episodes where I've talked about this. And I think a big part of it is that in the design industry, maybe this is sort of, I see it more in the UK. Well, no, it's not just UK specific. Like, it happens everywhere. I'm more familiar with the design industry in the UK, but I see a lot of people really being critical of other people's designs online. And I guess that's sort of, you know, the risk with putting yourself out there on the internet is that you're going to receive criticism, and that has scared me in the past. I think I'm getting more confident to do that, and also just more confident or more resilient to just like ignore people's opinions that I'm not interested in or I don't think are sort of correct or valuable. Yeah, so I've sort of like been trying to share my work more, and it's not at all that I'm not proud of my work, because I mean there's loads of work that, you know, if I did it again now versus 12 years ago, I would probably tackle it very differently, obviously, but I think there's this thing where, you know, like, I don't know if anyone else relates to this, but as a creative, I put so much of myself into my work, and I often find it really hard to separate myself from the work, like myself as a person from the work. And so it feels really vulnerable to share, and it also feels scary if someone criticizes it, because it's very hard to not then take that as a criticism of me as a person. And that's what I'm working on that. And, you know, I've had more negative comments online. So that's actually helping me get used to receiving them. I actually had an ad that I created for Adobe. They put some ad spend behind it, and that always like results in negative comments, I find. So actually that's been a really good process for me, because I'm expecting it, and so it helps me to get used to that kind of thing. It wasn't about my work, so it is a bit different, but I think it's like something that I have to practice. And yeah, I'm trying to share my work more. I'm actually working on a branding project at the moment, which I am completely in love with. Like, to the point, I don't know if anyone else has ever had this, any other designers, but to the point that I almost want to, I mean, I would never do this, but I almost want to steal the whole design and have it as my branding because I just love it so much. So I'm excited to share that when that one comes out. And yeah, I'm just gonna get better at sharing my work, and I think that is another reason why it's fun to do this little blog sharing some of my old work. You know, I can go back and look at it with a critical eye and sort of like show a bit of the journey of like where I've come from. And also I am finding it really interesting to see those common threads that still like come through in my work. Like I mentioned, you know, like that hand-drawn aspect. Like, I think it's interesting to see how my style has evolved, but the bits that have stayed the same. I'm really loving this vlogging format, so I've got lots of ideas of other vlogs that I want to record, which is cool. I'd love to hear what you think. I would love to be in a position, and this is what I'm going to work to, where I do a weekly vlog. I mean, they are quite labour intensive. It did take me a long time to edit that first one. Again, I guess I'll get quicker over time. But yeah, it's fun. Anyway, I'm going to finish my lunch, then I've got a podcast recording, and then I'm going to show you some more work. Okay, so I just finished my podcast recording with Becky from Be Heard Socials. I went up into the loft and found this box of work. It's very dusty. So yeah, I'm going to find some bits for you. Okay, so this was actually right after I graduated, before I started working full time. I went and did an internship in New York with this designer, and I got to work on this brochure for an exhibition for the School of American Ballet. Honestly, it was so cool. So here's the brochure, and it had some really amazing like bronze printing, beautiful like typography. So yeah, I got to work on that, which was amazing. Really, really chuffed with how that turned out. So that was like one of my first ever projects. Very cool. Right, hang on. There's like loads of wedding invites in here that I designed for friends. Also my dissertation. So my dissertation was all about, it was called 100 Years of Struggle. And it was all about what the political posters of the Cuban Revolution reveal about the ideologies and culture of Cuban. It was very cool. I was really into Cuba when I was at uni, because I was lucky enough to go and visit. Right, let's see. So there's a lot of stuff from the university that I used to work at. So this was actually one of my favourite projects. It was a facilities guide. So honestly, it was actually like it wasn't sort of super exciting content, but I managed to bring in like lots of illustrations and create this front cover, lots of like cute little illustrations down here, and like the borders. I mean, all the themes are coming through. I basically try and get like hand-drawn stuff in every project that I do. That is so funny. Honestly, I'm starting to see the themes so much now. Let's see, there was like a few of those, so I did one each year. So this was one a different year, so it had like a different colorway, different illustrations in there. It'd be interesting to see if I like go back and see mistakes. Oh, that'd be bad. Oh, this is another one as well. There's loads of them. Day. I have a new lesson that I need to learn, which is that I need to keep my Osmo charged. So basically I was in the middle of recording the bit earlier, and yeah, it ran out of battery, and then I had to go and get the kids from school, and I ran out of time to record anymore. But I'm gonna just finish off. I mean, I've done most of it, but I just wanted to show you a few more things, so I'm just gonna finish off the vlog. And then I'm going to post it and set it live. And yeah, I've got exciting plans. The voice note earlier in the vlog where I was chatting with Lois about the podcast, we actually came up with a totally different idea, which I'm really excited to share soon. So yeah, I feel like I'm getting into a bit of a rhythm with posting on YouTube, which is awesome. I've actually got quite a few sort of events and activities coming up that I'm planning to vlog, which I'm really excited about. But I'm also going to do some other kind of like non-vlog content. So one of the things I was thinking as well was I want to do a video about how I've been editing my solo episodes over the summer, because I got into a really good rhythm with it, and they actually don't take me that long now, which is amazing. And that was sort of like a big barrier to me doing more stuff like that and more content like that for YouTube as well. So I'm going to share a video about that. So I think it's going to be like a mix of vlogs and tutorials, but I'm feeling fairly confident that I'm going to be able to get out a video every single week, which is really exciting. But let's go back to sharing some of my old work. So I just got a few more things that I want to show you. So this was a campaign. So I worked at the London School of Economics. They had an in-house design team. I really enjoyed it, but obviously you are pretty limited to designing within that brand. And after sort of 7 years, like I had started to get a bit tired of that, although the work was really, really varied. But this was one of the things I worked on, which I loved. So this was a campaign encouraging people to like reuse things from like their halls. So maybe, you know, like furniture and stuff for other campuses. So I came up with this logo, this Relove logo. I mean, this is like really early days of my career now. And then created these door hangers. There was also a poster, but it's a bit worse for wear. Here's the poster. It's a bit crumpled. But yeah, so, you know, it had its sort of own illustration style and colour palette and everything. And these would then get hung on all the doors in the halls of residence, encouraging people to donate their stuff that they don't want anymore. So that was a really fun project to work on. I used to have the job of designing the university Christmas cards every year. So in August, basically my boss would buy me, I don't know where she found them, but she'd buy me a box of mince pies. I would stick my headphones on, blast some Christmas music, and I would be in charge, yeah, of designing the Christmas card. It was honestly a really hard job to come up with something new each year, and this was one that I did one year. So it was obviously like a Christmas tree made up of loads of words, just like associated with Christmas. So, and then with the little square LSE logo as the base. But yeah, it was quite fun getting to work on those. And as I said, hard. And then another one from LSE. This was like very sort of I guess corporate looking, on brand. It was like one of their handbooks that went out to students. But one of the things I loved about this project is that they had, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it with the sun, but they had a pretty decent budget, and so I got to pick this absolutely gorgeous paper for the cover, and we had it blind embossed, and like it wasn't that often that we'd get to do something that felt so luxury, and I do get really nerdy about paper, so this was a really exciting project for me. I remember really enjoying working on that one, so that was cool. And then yeah, that's it pretty much. That is a bunch of examples of things. I mean, I've got a whole box. There's so many more things. I did loads of like annual reports. I did loads of like side projects for other clients as well. I think there must be another box somewhere up in the loft. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little sort of whistle-stop tour of some of my old work. I'm going to try and do a video sharing some of my new work at some point. But yeah, and if you have any ideas of things that you would like me to cover that's like more behind the scenes, then I'd love to hear it. I'm always looking for ideas. I have got ideas for vlogs coming up, you know, when I'm out and about doing things, but I want to share other stuff as well. So yeah, I'm excited. After this, I am going to go and record a couple more solo episodes. I'm actually going to do one all about being trolled, because that has been something that's been going on recently. And yeah, I'll be back again with another video next week.